I think we should just jump into it because the biggest one that came out was a movie that I was excited for back in Toronto called Boy Kills World because it looked like Bill Skarsgård was ripped. This man looked like he was about to do some raid action since there was some actors from that movie that were in this. Did you hate the violence?
You know what? No, it's. I think there's actually a lot of like pretty cool, over the top, really bloody action choreography in this one. It's just that they kind of bury all of it under this like winking, needless voiceover that's sort of in the style of like the Deadpool movies or something. It's just such a like. There's so much grating comedy that like I feel like the balance of like stuff I dug versus stuff I didn't just tipped in the direction of stuff I didn't.
Yeah, I had heard that originally he was doing the voice for this character that supposedly is like, he can't speak, he can't even really hear,
Yeah,
and there's a
silent warrior
narration.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he does a narration over like his thoughts, and with it being his voice, that's kind of interesting. The person they chose, let the people know, because I don't know if it'll pop out all of his roles here, but it's H. John Benjamin, who's
Yeah.
very specific.
Yeah, I mean, the voice of Bob on Bob's Burgers, Bob Belcher. He's also the voice of Archer from the long-running FX show. A pretty talented voice actor. I really loved him as Coach McGurk on Home Movies as well.
Damn, holy
He's
shit.
not. It's not that he's untalented or unfunny. It's just that first of all, it feels really, really shoehorned in. Like I in my letterbox review, I said that it was almost like he was doing a riff tracks or like an audio commentary. He feels
Yeah.
added in after they've done everything already. And also, like, as you mentioned, they're sort of using this voiceover as the way of projecting the Bill Skarsgård character's thoughts out there because he doesn't speak otherwise.
Yeah.
But H. John Benjamin's voice is such a strange match for Bill Skarsgård's face and the experience of being this kind of like warrior monk or whatever. Like H. John Benjamin doesn't get across the like silent, strong warrior type, you know?
Yeah, it's supposed to be their idol from the video game, and I can think of like a
Exactly.
dozen other voices that would have fit that a lot better. So I agree with you that that part was a little off. It becomes this like tonal clash because a lot of the movie is him trying to figure out like where he came from. It's your pretty straightforward action movie where he's just beating him up. I think Bill does a fantastic job for his physicality. There's a lot of camera movements where you're seeing him whipping around and they keep it with long takes. When he's fighting Mad Dog at the end, that delivered everything that I wanted in the fights. I thought the blood, the effects, a lot of even the visual style and the flair was pretty cool. But then they get to parts of the story that I thought were absolutely stupid. So if you
Yeah.
already have some tonal shifts that don't work, I thought the ending completely fell flat. I think there are bits that you can see far ahead, and the parts that you're like, but I don't see how they're gonna connect it. Once they deliver you how, it's lazier than the switch that they did of the voiceover, and that did not work for me at all. Jessica Roth, who plays one of the like warriors who's battling it out there. I was wondering why she was doing Happy Death Day like interviews talking about there being a third one, which I'm crossing my fingers for. It's because she's in this movie and she is jacked. She is completely ripped. She's technically working for the bad guys as the like right hand person who's
The
making sure
muscle
that
kind
everything's.
of.
Yeah, and I thought she delivered that pretty well. Charlton Copley is just the same character in every movie.
Yep, as is Brett Gelman, for what it's worth, who also shows up in this movie.
You saw the controversy?
Yeah, with
The-
Ehrlich's
the-
review and the
the
since
tweeting and
deleted
deleting there.
comments.
Yeah, I mean, interesting stuff. Definitely
Yeah,
go check
you
it
reap
out.
what you sow. I feel like a little bit there.
You definitely do, especially on this end, because I know all the smack that he was talking through the Stranger Things discourse because of the other boy. He got brought up as well, and they're like, we're just gonna ignore half of the Stranger Things cast. But then, like, IndieWire also moving his review is weird because I don't get what the precedent there is. If him speaking about a person in that manner is not something he's allowed to do, you're gonna have to change 90% of David Ehrlich's reviews. But I don't know. I don't know what pull this man had. But I was telling Alina, do you remember who he's married to?
Used to be married to Janixa Bravo, no longer. Yeah.
Oh, he's having a tough weekend. Oh,
Yeah,
my bad.
I don't think that's new news.
It's not recent, I guess. But
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they've signed opposite petitions also recently, so there's that. But yeah, Brett Gelman.
Boy Meets World right there.
Yeah, not
Sheesh.
having the happiest time right now.
Dang, that really sucks. But you
yeah.
know what
You
doesn't
mentioned-
suck for is Andrew
Oh.
Koji, because he was really good in this movie as well. I didn't give him much to do, but
No.
he's in Warrior. He did some decent stuff in Snake Eyes. He's more of a comedic role here, but if you haven't checked this guy out, he's definitely one to seek out, because I think he's going to be a big action star. Kind of already is.
Definitely. You mentioned the action cinematography and like those sweeping cameras. I think some of it reminded me a bit of how Deadpool shoots action scenes, a little bit of like the Matthew Vaughn Kingsman style.
Yeah.
But honestly, the thing that I think it reminded me the most of is like a maybe bloodier version of the way they shot the fight scenes in Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's not maybe quite as kinetic as the way as what are the YouTube boys called again? The way.
Oh, yeah. I'm blanking on their names, but yeah, the ones who helped out with that.
Exactly. It's not as kinetic as the way they choreograph stuff, but just the way that the Daniels like to have these like big camera sweeps, or sometimes they focus in on like a tiny little like body detail that will lead to like a spot of humor. It felt very reminiscent of Everything Everywhere All at Once. That all being said, they do this thing with drone photography, and every time they do, it stands out like a sore thumb. It's all the ugliest shots in a movie that is like not honestly usually good to look at. All the ugliest shots are when they fly a drone around and they get Bill Skarsgård like with maybe like a corner of the frame.
Yeah. Look, I was really anticipating this out of TIFF, sorry. And I do think it delivers if you just want a dumb beat 'em up movie. It is one where you could watch it on mute. And technically, if you're listening to our critiques, it might be the better way to watch it. I think it still delivers on its violence, but the story and the voiceover aren't really the best. So
Yeah.
I'd say seek it out when it comes home.
And the fight choreographers were Brian and Andy Lee. I forget what their YouTube channel is called.
Wait.
Brother.
So it is them.
Oh no! I'm talking about who I couldn't
okay, I was about to
remember
say.
from. Geez, what's their name though? Is it Marshall Club?
No.
Something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
those guys who did the fight choreography and Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's not quite on their level, but there is some satisfying action stuff. It's just that like the characters are bad, the jokes are irritating, the voiceover is super gratuitous, and it all kind of drowns out what could have otherwise. But I feel like the filmmakers didn't have faith in their premise. Like just make it simpler. Cut out some stuff. There's a joke that actually it could be funny where like because he is deaf, he's like trying to read lips and he can't read this one guy's lips, but then they like beat the joke over your head and do too much in this movie.
Yeah, and there's also like a lot of elements where he also has his the character who plays his sister kind of like guiding him throughout, and it also becomes something where it's just like I think you're leaning too heavily in that in ways that isn't really helping the narrative. But again, Boy Kills World out in theaters now, but wait for it to come home near you instead.